快疯了，你从不计较服务好的或荒谬，有你在重要，幸福的快炸掉，大声炫耀，要高峰，去天峰，要高峰 ，TFBO。开心的快疯了，你从不计较服务好的或荒谬，有你在重要，幸福的快炸掉，大声炫耀，要高峰，去天峰，要高峰 ，TFBO。开心的快疯了，你从不计较服务好的或荒谬，有你在重要，幸福的快炸掉，大声炫耀，要高峰，去天峰，要高峰 ，TFBO。
We're looking live at the Maba Stadium where our quadruple header is moments away from tipping off. Two teams looking for their first win in the elimination phase. The MFT Fruitmasters taking on Sanzar Pharmaceuticals. Good afternoon, Hoops fans. My name is Stan C alongside Coach Gabi Severino of the CSB Blazers. Good afternoon, Coach.
Good afternoon, Stan. I'm excited to be here. Good afternoon to all the Asia basketball fans out there.
And these are two teams that you prepped for in the Benil Blazers run in the elimination phase so far. As we take a look at the standings really quickly, you've got both teams at 0-2 at the bottom of their bracket in Group A, looking to climb up the standings here. Hopefully they can be able to make something happen before the playoffs over the weekend. Of course, you've got Harimau Malaysia, the defending champions there on top. Your team, Coach Gabi, 2-0 so far in Group A. And just reminding everybody that we're looking for the top two teams in every group to advance to the semifinals. We'll tell you more about that in a bit, but first, let's send it over to Ken Pangilinan, our venue announcer, for the introduction of players.
Number 22, Yukihiro Kawamura. Number 24, Cheno Obuyes. Number 39, Shaq Alanes. Number 56, Elmar Moradas. Number 77, Ron Sagala. Number 88, Philip Lanzar. And number 91, Art Dimas. Their head coach is Zeppelin Higa. And now let's meet the players of the MFT Fruitmasters. Number 4, Lloyd coming in. Number 5, Vidyakanga. Number 8, Edsel Mamisa. Number 9, San Bako. Number 10, Mix Castellano. Number 12, Ray Sebastian Jr. Number 13, Francis Abakar. Number 14, Andre Montserrat. Number 15, Ivan Cervantes. Number 17, Allen Papa. Number 24, Marlon Monte. Their head coach is Jane Padrigao. Our game officials for this game, crew chief Qui Yong-sen. Umpire 1 is Sun Chi He, and umpire 2 is Tan Jing Ang.
And here's a look at both squads dapping up, shaking hands before we tip off. Our officials for this game, Crew Chief T. Yong-seun and the two umpires, San Che Her and Tan Jing Ang. We're going to get to know our protagonists in a bit, but let's ask Coach Gabi first. Coach Gabi, any expectations from two teams in terms of mindset, knowing that they're heading into this at 0-2?
Usually, if you're at the bottom of the standings, you want to at least show something. So this is a crucial game for both of them that they want to be respectable and they want to show up in the win column.
All right, and that's the pressure that either team will be heading into in this matchup. Now, let's get to know Sanzar Pharmaceuticals even better here as we throw it over to the third member of our broadcast team, Kimberly Mas.
Thank you, Stan. Kimberly Mas here with Yukihiro Kawamura of Sanzar. Now, Yuki, is it Yuki-chan? Yuki-kun? What do people usually call you?
They call me Yuki, but then you can also call me Yukihiro. So it's my, para Japanese talaga yung...
Okay, so Yuki, so it's more Japanese. So Yuki, I can call you Yuki, right? All right. So Yuki, a lot of people are intrigued that you're a Filipino-Japanese basketball player. So how, naze Sanzar? Why Sanzar?
Sanzar gave me the opportunity to play internationally. It's my first international journey, so I would just like to thank Boss Luis Lanzar and the other management for giving me the opportunity to play here.
All right, so it's your first international tournament, and I heard that your family surprised you here in your first game. What's it like? Were you surprised? How did you react?
I just saw them in the hotel, so I got surprised, and I'm just thankful that I have a supportive family.
All right. Good luck, Yuki, to you and your team. Back to you, Stan and Coach Gabby Severino.
Thank you very much, Kim. Yuki Kawamura, no stranger to organized basketball and these competitions, having competed for the University of Perpetual Help System, DALTA, in his college days. As you take a look at the rest of the Sanzar Pharmaceuticals lineup, they're helmed by Coach Jemuel Gikan. And interesting to note that Hamadu Laminu has finally joined Sanzar Pharmaceuticals. He just arrived in Kuala Lumpur yesterday. Coach Gabby, what difference can Laminu make here?
He's a big difference. He'll give you a big difference physically. He can match up with the bigger imports. So he'll really help Sanzar in their, especially on defense, rebounding, and hopefully on offense too.
Sanzar is quite undersized, and Laminu definitely coming in with some help on the front line at 6'10" as we look at the Sanzar Pharmaceutical coaching staff. Coach Gikan looking for a reason to smile here as his team searches for their first W. Meanwhile, on the other end, you've got the MFT Fruitmasters. Their lineups on your screen, and this is a lineup whose bigs your team prepared for in the elimination phase, Coach Gabby.
Yes. Both teams we prepared for. Both teams are a bit different. When we were preparing for Sanzar, we were really looking at the shooters. Alanes, Gika. When we scouted, they had a really good shooting game. And then on the other end, we were looking at the MFT team that were more post-oriented in their attack. Not necessarily scoring, but they put the ball in the post more than the other team. I guess because they didn't have an import yet. So we'll see what the difference in styles will do. But don't count out the perimeter players of MFT also. Abacar's there, Montes there. They're the ones who are scoring. Alanes had versus us. We really wanted to limit his shots and make it hard for him. Anytime you have a scorer, it's really hard to stop. And on the other side, Abacar, he had a bad game versus us, but he has a scorer's mentality. So watch out for him to bounce back from that.
Yes, last night took an L, but today he bounced back, in the words of the great philosopher Big Sean, something that both teams are looking to do right here. Moments away from getting this contest started, let's get to know the starters from Ken Pangilinan. Big change in the starting lineup here for Sanzar. Jello Obuyas no longer coming off the bench, and Eugene Madera sliding to the 4 with Hamadu Laminu stepping in at center. 6'10". You can't teach size, and that's definitely an advantage here for Sanzar, who's in white. Meanwhile, the MFT Fruitmasters, they're in blue today. Kong Sanma stepping in at center as usual. In the rest of the front court, you've got Edsel Mag-isa and Alan Papa. Marlon Monte and Andre Montserrat rounding it out in the backcourt. And Marlon Monte, still the leading scorer for MFT, averaging 13.5 points per contest, but only shooting 37% from the field, Coach.
That's what when we were preparing, that's what we want. Sometimes you can't limit the score, but you have to limit their percentages.
And limiting their percentages definitely going to frustrate the opposing team. But when you're on the coaching staff and you see that your players just aren't nailing their buckets, how do you adjust from your standpoint on the coaching staff?
First, you have to analyze if the shot is the correct shot. Sometimes the missed shot is a problem of the shot selection and not really the shot. So if it's a good shot and you miss and we created that shot from our offense, then that's okay. That's okay.
Finally, the tip actually works in favor this time of the MFT Fruitmasters, and Kong looking for it down low. Getting stripped there on the other end. Here comes Sanzar. Taladua making an impact early on here. But that's going to be an early turnover for Sanzar Pharmaceuticals as we get to the keys of the game, Coach.
Well, we have to see if for Sanzar, Obuyes is again the third scorer. Of course, if with Lamino inside in the lineup now, then they have another option inside, and it's always a good thing if you have balance between inside and outside presence.
Jello Obuyes, a non-factor in the first game that Sanzar played, but against CSB put up 16 off the bench as Laminu got blocked down low earlier. Sanzar still unable to convert here. Here's Monte. Getting that nice pick from Kong. Strong pick from the big man from Hong Kong. The basket is good. 3-point play opportunity here for Montserrat.
That's what I mentioned a while ago, that the offense of MFT comes through the bigs and not just the perimeter. So pick and rolls, man rolling to attract defenders. So that's how they play.
In terms of defense, look at the keys of the game here, Coach. Who do you expect to match up on the defensive end against the likes of Shaq Alanes and Maya Taladua?
I think it has to be everyone, because he's going all over the place. You can switch everything, especially if it gets picked. It's easier for you to get in front of him and challenge his shots if you are defending as a team.
Taladua now hoisting up a three-pointer, in and out. Offensive glass being cleaned up by Madera.
I like this Madera. Madera is pure energy. He got a lot of offensive rebounds against us, and it's paying dividends for them.
Eugene Madera sliding over to power forward now that Laminu's here. I'm sure that's a huge relief on his end as well. When you're an undersized big and you have to bang in the post against some of these imports who are way taller than 6'8", 6'9", way taller than your average Filipino big man, that's got to take an effect, have a negative toll on your body, doesn't it?
Yes, physically it's hard. Plus, if you have Lamino with you, then the concentration of the other bigs on the other team for boxing out is not with you. So you'll be freer going around and getting all those rebounds.
Edsel Magisa pushing MFT's lead to 5. MFT off to a hot start. Something that our fellow broadcasters haven't necessarily been able to say. Glad that we can say it here as Alanes throws up that floater and draws the foul.
Acting foul number 17, Iron Popeye's first team foul.
Alanes getting hacked there.
Shooting 2, shot.
Was that a good move for Alanes, even though the shot looked like it had no chance of going in?
He has that mentality. Even if he didn't score on 3 points, if he didn't score on 3-pointers in our game, he, I think, scored 12 of 15 free throws.
Shaq Alanes unable to hit a 3-pointer in Sanzar's previous matchup. Looking for a bounce-back game of his own here. And Sanzar putting on the press early on, Coach.
That's that's how you generate points. As you can see now,
Taladua going all the way. Another easy bucket for him. That's 4.
As they say, pressure defense creates offense. Easy offense.
Single possession game here for Sanzar Pharmaceuticals and MFT Fruitmasters. MFT hoisting up a 3, offensive rebound. And Montserrat getting double teamed inside. You have to admire the hustle from the point guard.
Smallest guy getting the rebound.
Nine seconds on the shot clock, 14 seconds on the shot clock here for MFT. No free throws for Andre Montserrat just yet. You can see Montserrat is going to be the trigger man from the outside. Looks for Papa. Firing it with over 10 seconds remaining. MFT not really maximizing the shot clock there. And Laminu looking to position himself, Coach. Is that the best way to get your big man going?
If he gets fouls, but unfortunately it's an offensive foul for him. But if he gets cheap fouls and gets to the line, then it's a way of producing points.
MFT looking to build on that quick start that they had. If you're Marlon Monte, you said earlier, Coach, that he has a scorer's mentality, but it looks like the defense is really ganging up on him.
He's the focal point of their offense, so the defense will be focused on him to stop him and his penetration and his outside sniping.
MFT unable to capitalize on that 3-on-2 fast break. Second chance opportunity here. Mag-isa is quite literally mag-isa or alone in English. Three-pointer still no good for Monte. Thought that was an injury there on the floor for Sanzar. Thankfully, nobody banged up as Obuyes gets that whistle. Let's take a look at that blocking foul once again. Obuyes really wanted to get to the paint there. Admirable effort.
Just a simple in-out move and a little bump gets him the foul.
Jello Obuyes averaging 8 points per game in his 2 games here in AsiaBasket. All of them coming from that 16-point performance yesterday. Does that scare you over in the coaching staff, Coach Gabby, whenever somebody you don't expect off the bench suddenly gets hot?
That's what's hard with this tournament. Sometimes you don't expect players to score that way. You don't have time to really scout them. So it's a short. We just watched one game. Unless you already know them from their college or other tournaments, then it will be easier for you. But sometimes players that are not really known to be scorers can really produce points.
We'll get to more of the first quarter as both teams take a timeout here with 6:08 remaining in the first. Back here at the Maba Stadium. Not even midway yet through our first quarter here. It's the first game of our quadruple header, day 4 of the 2023 AsiaBasket Kuala Lumpur, brought to you by Sportsclick. Alan is calling for that Madera pick. Taking that shot from the top of the key, no good. And the Fruitmasters quickly trying to set up shop with Mag-isa against Madera. Edsel Mag-isa, Coach, somebody that you brought up earlier that you guys wanted to prepare for.
Because it's against our players who are kind of smaller and lighter, it's hard to get position with the Mag-isa. And he's a veteran, so he knows how to position himself well underneath.
Maya Taladua on that last basket as Sanzar takes their first lead of the ball game. They're going back to Mag-isa, gets rejected. Meanwhile, on the other end, Taladua, he's got that old man game in him for an undersized forward.
But he has the body to really bang inside. Probably he played post when he was younger. He has that post moves. It was a bit of a shoulder in the chest.
And that explains the offensive foul against Sanzar. Another turnover there for Sanzar Pharmaceuticals.
Madera's holding his own even if he has a slighter build than Mag-isa. He had a block earlier. Mag-isa is not really getting a lot of rebounds.
Meanwhile, on the offensive end, Kong San Ma with his second bucket here.
If he makes those jumpers, it will be bad news for Sanzar.
Kong San Ma averaging just a little under 7 points per game so far as Taladua lines it up from 3 is good.
Taladua had 16 points versus us and a couple of three-pointers. So that's his game.
Averaging 19 points per contest along with 8.5 rebounds so far as Monte spins to the rack. Earns himself 2 free throws in the process.
Again, that scorer's mentality, being aggressive, attacking the basket, getting to the free throw line.
As we see here on the replay, Monte really earning his points. Sanzar forcing him to work for it. Art Dimas checking in now for Eugene Madera.
I like Art Dimas. Art Dimas has the energy, even if you see that he's slight of build. He got like 8 offensive rebounds versus us. So he's living up to his number.
Art Dimas
91.
over on the far corner of your screen. That's right, using the same number that Dennis Rodman once wore as a member of the Bulls dynasty of the mid-90s. Also a veteran now, still playing at the age of 38. Most recently played in the Maharlika Pilipinas Basketball League or the MPBL. Interesting to see what Sanzar wants to do here to free up Shaq Alanes, and right on cue, Alanes with his first three-pointer.
He just has to have a small space. If you're late, then it's dead.
That's his first three-pointer in the last couple of days, coming off of that explosion he had in his opening contest where he had 30 points in the first half. Abarcar drawing the foul. That's going to go against Dimas.
It's nice to see also Abarcar getting aggressive. They need him to be the number 2 guy.
And Abarcar is somebody you might recognize, Coach, because he did play in the NCAA. Did his time as a player overlap with your time on the Benilde coaching staff?
No, I just started my coaching career in the Benilde side this year. I coached 20 years for the UAAP for the Blue Eagles.
And what's the difference when you take what you know, your experience from coaching in the collegiate ranks in the Philippines and then bringing that over here to the international stage? What's the biggest difference for you?
I think the biggest, especially for the players, I think is the experience and the physicality of the older guys. They have to learn and accept that they'll get hit sometimes. And the nuances of the game. You'll see the veterans really know how to get open or how to defend.
How do you prepare them, though, as Laminu tries to lay it up? Dimas with a second chance opportunity there.
I told you I like this Dimas.
Dimas already earning Coach Gabby's approval. But going back to your players in the Benilde Blazers, how do you condition them to just get used to getting bullied on the blocks or getting physical with these vets?
Well, first of all, we tell them to really work on their bodies. But with age comes the strength too. So we just have to let them and prepare them that they'll get hit, be physical, accept the contact, and play through it.
Alanes thought he had that follow-through, couldn't nail it from downtown. Sanzar still up by 2. And in terms of preparation, you want them to bulk up, you want them to be able to withstand the pounding from all of these international vets. Do they have to spend more time in the weight room? Do they have to improve their diets?
I think with the game now, it's everything. They have to be really good with their diets. They have to work out really well, have the right coaching. So everything now, everyone's getting better at everything.
And, these international tournaments, they do happen during the off-season for you guys in the NCAA where the Benilde Blazers normally play. How many of these tournaments do you even get to join in, say, a calendar year?
Well, this is our first international tournament with professionals, but we already had 1 or 2 local tournaments that we joined. So we used to really, we also play against the UAP teams a lot. We have friends of course, especially for me, I'm from the UAP, so we already have connections, and we kind of play back-to-back games with them and try to prepare as much as possible.
Kokoy Gikan with a 4-point play opportunity. Drilling that three and getting the whistle. Best believe Coach Jemuel Gikan likes that from his brother Kokoy.
And I guess the opposing coach would not like that, fouling a shooter and giving them a chance for a 4-point play.
Villablanca committing one of those classic cardinal sins from the coach's handbook.
Yes, yes.
Gikan couldn't get 4, but at least he drilled that 3 earlier. Sanzar up by 5. And you mentioned the UAAP earlier, Coach, and for the international viewers, it might be confusing them that there's so many collegiate leagues in the Philippines. There's the NCAA, there's a UAAP, there's CESOFI, and all these other leagues. In broad strokes, why are there so many collegiate leagues back home?
Probably the simple explanation is there's a lot of basketball players at home. There's a lot of talent at home, and since we also live in an archipelago, so it's easier to have the different leagues in the different islands.
I think that's a very important realization for the international fans here who are just beginning to grasp how big of a sport basketball really is in the Philippines, where Coach Gabby and I are from. There's Louis Lanzar, the owner of the team, checking in early here for Sanzar. Dimas, good pump fake, gets inside and off the lucky bounce.
Dimas is really becoming my favorite player now.
Art Dimas making sure that he leaves a positive impression. Good defense there, the steal. But there's a foul. Dimas not committing that turnover.
Every coach loves someone who does the dirty things. No?
Who's that guy for the Benil Blazers?
For the Blazers, well, top of mind, we have Mark Sanko, who does a lot of, he can shoot from outside, he can defend, he's long, he can bring down the ball, he can set up his teammates. Those are the players that the coaches love.
And now our officials are going to review that last foul call as Dimas got held right there during the breakaway. And Coach, do you think there's an upgrade or a downgrade of that call there?
Well, I think, well, that says the answer right now. But I was thinking that there was a defender in front of him. Maybe because that was an upgrade because of the foul not being a play on the ball.
So it's an unsportsmanlike foul against MFT, and that means free throws for Art Dimas and possession for Sanzar Pharmaceuticals, who have gone on a nice little run here. Started off a bit cold, but now they've got an 8-point lead against MFT. They can even push it up to 9.
Thanks to my favorite player.
Art Dimas.
Art Dimas, if he makes this, he has 6 points and a couple of rebounds. But again, we jinx his free throws.
I'm sure he'll only begin to blame us tonight when he gets back to the hotel and checks his stat sheet. 14 on the shot clock here for Sanzar Pharmaceutical. Louis Lanzar running the offense now, almost getting stripped by Abarcar. Dimas is running out of time.
He has to shoot.
Pass to Laminu to Dimas, back inside. No good for Lanzar.
Good defense by MFT. Good pressure on the ball there.
Unfortunately, Sanzar unable to capitalize. They could have had a good 4 or 5 point swing there. MFT hoping to end this quarter on a good note. About 1 minute and 4 left here in the first. Dimas with his hands up. And now Laminu down in the post. Villablanca from the outside. Less than a minute here.
Here's a chance to up the lead to double digits.
5 on the floor for Sanzar, Gikan, Lanzar, Laminu, Kawamura, and Dimas. Laminu posting up. Laminu can't find his low post game just yet. Meanwhile, on the other side, there's a 14-second differential between shot clock and game clock. MFT can't get the 2 for 1 here. Abarkar getting fouled by Lanzar.
That's the experience of Abarkar. Nothing's happening to their offense, and he just drives, he puts his head down and drives and gets a free throw to the free throw line.
And you see Louis Lanzar still trying to contest that off the call. Unfortunately, you can't really dispute these calls in AsiaBasket. Francis Abarkar from San Beda University. He's a 2-time NCAA champion dating back to his time with the Red Lions.
And that move shows his experience.
Having played at one of the higher levels in the Philippines. Shot clock's off. Lanzar running the offense here for Sanzar Pharmaceuticals. Looks like he needs some help. Lanzar
MFT
loses
with
it.
Defense again.
Recovery here. Dimas from the top of the key. Lefty jumper, no good. And at the end of the first quarter, Sanzar Pharmaceuticals is up by 7, 23-16. We'll be back with the second quarter of action. Second quarter of action about to begin here. We've got a 7-point game between the Sanzar Pharmaceuticals and MFT Fruitmasters. Stan C alongside Coach Gabi Severino calling the action, and we've got the third member of our broadcast team, Kimberly Mas, with an update on how Sanzar wants to integrate Hamadou Laminu in the offense now that he's in the country.
Thank you, Stan. With Laminu now in the lineup, Coach Jimwell is confident that they can execute a more offensive game plan. He told the team to give him a signal if they're tired so he can give them the time to recuperate. Stan?
Yes, recovery is such an issue here, especially when you don't really have any days off. Only one or two teams have had a chance to really stretch their legs and take in Kuala Lumpur, right, Coach? It's got to be hard on the recovery.
I think that's one of the biggest adjustments also for us, because in our tournament we have days off between games, and in this short tournament later our game will be our third game in 3 days. So rest is important, hydration, food is important, and then sleeping in not your own bed is another thing.
That's right. That's a challenge in and of itself. And I'm sure, Coach Gabby, you've taken in the food here in Kuala Lumpur. It's great. We'll get to that in a bit. I've got a food-related question. But first, a timeout here from the MFT Fruitmasters. 9:28 remaining here in the second quarter. Let's pick up that question I was about to ask earlier, Coach Gabby. Here in Kuala Lumpur, the food, top-notch, but of course, Asian delicacies tend to be a little bit on the oilier and greasier side of things. So for your players and even for the other vets here, how do you manage your need to eat and, of course, maintain that diet?
For them, they have the advantage of age. They can eat anything. For me, getting up there in age, I have to be really picky with what I eat. But mostly, if it's oily, greasy, probably chicken or seafoods and a lot of vegetables, which we have here and delicious here.
10 seconds on the shot clock here for Sanzar as Kawamura lines that up. Still can't get it to go for Kawamura. MFT is running though. And that one is good off the glass for Marlon Monte. Sorry, Andre Montserrat. And as Montserrat prepares to complete that three-point play, what stood out to you from the first quarter, Coach Gabby?
Well, looking at the stats, Sanzar has 7 fast break points to 0 from MFT. So this fast break point for MFT is a good sign for them. And then another thing is the three-point shots. Sanzar is 60% of 3 out of 5 from 3 points, and FMT has yet to shoot a three-pointer. So those are the big difference that I see for the first quarter.
And if you're manning the sidelines for MFT, what do you want them to do better, or what do you want them to keep doing?
Well, first, the transition defense, and then start running like this to get easy points.
Allen Papa with that quick layup. It's now a 2-point game between both teams. And MFT trying to pressure all 94 feet now.
I think they're trying to manufacture easy points. Like that last 5 points was kind of a fast break, so easier than a set play.
And Laminu getting his first bucket, taking some time to get going. And if you just arrived in Kuala Lumpur yesterday on an early morning flight, that's bound to get you off of your rhythm.
Yes, being, like I said, different bed, different circumstances, different temperature, and then plus the 4-hour flight, that's hard.
Assuming that he is flying in, or he did fly in
from Manila.
From Manila.
Yes.
3-point play opportunity here for Lloyd Cabigin. Another veteran big here for the MFT Fruitmasters. No stranger to AsiaBasket. He was part of the Muntinlupa roster back in the Summer Championship between March and May of 2022. Cabigin, no good on that free throw. Still a 2-point game between Sanzar and MFT.
MFT continuing the pressure now.
Taladua looking for that outside shot, and MFT pressuring him to give it up. Madera running out of time here, fading away. No good.
MFT defense is sticking to the gunners, Alanes and Taladua.
There's Taladua with a nice steal. He's got numbers to Alanes. That's good. That's 6 points for Shaq Alanes. Meanwhile, on the other end, tried to run and play Sanzar's game. But Sanzar was ready for that.
I guess MFT, as we see in the last few possessions, is trying to push the pace to get easy baskets. And hopefully, and with the score, they're getting success from that.
Let's take a look at that last sequence there where Cabigin got called for that foul. You have to give it to him, at least trying, because he knew he missed that shot. He knew that was on him, but he just lost control there.
Yes, and they're not in penalty, so at least there's no free throws for the other team.
Hamadu Laminu checking back in. Barely 2 minutes of rest here. And is this common in the Philippines as well, where you have an import and you really play him like 90% of the available minutes on the court?
Yes. First, the imports are physically up to it. Plus, their strength and size can't be replaced by some of our local players.
Of course, the Benil Blazers, they play in NCAA or in the NCAA where foreign student athletes or imports are no longer allowed. How's that changed the way that your team recruits players?
I think the biggest thing is there will be a lot more opportunities for bigs in the NCAA. If you're an undersized big, you can still compete and do well in the NCAA as opposed to a UAAP where they all have foreign imports who are big and strong. But it doesn't mean that you can't compete. But it's just harder for the Filipino players to breach that lineup.
Let's take a look at that nasty spill that Jello Obuyes took earlier. He just slipped there and ran into one of the benches of the MFT Fruitmasters. Obuyes still unable to get up.
Hopefully it's nothing serious.
His knee just getting banged up there. Could be a contusion, could be a bruise. Obuyes appearing to walk it off clearly in a degree of pain. And that's not good news if you're Sanzar Pharmaceuticals.
They need Obuya for the third fire punch.
12 on the shot clock here for the MFT Fruitmasters. And Kabigin calling for it down low. Fades against Madera, no.
Madera holding his own on defense again versus the heftier post players of MFT.
They're going back to Laminu inside. Taladua from distance. Still can't find his range. Meanwhile, Montserrat finds the open man and is blocked.
Defense.
Maya Taladua proving that he can be a two-way player after all, coach.
That's always a good sign if you're up against two players and you still manage to stop them.
And that's bound to energize the players, your teammates rather, when you block a shot.
Yes.
Even though the stadium isn't as filled up as you'd like it to be, that's bound to give you that boost.
Any hustle play, whether it's a block shot, offensive foul taken, will really, really boost your team. There's the good foul, good block.
That was clean, all ball right there. 4-point game as MFT turns up the pressure on defense. And Taladua loses it, but that's a foul. Another one against, I believe that'll be against Edsel Mag-isa.
That's a natural tendency of players to try to pick the pocket of the opposing team. Instead of just putting his hands up because he's a bigger, taller player.
14 on the shot clock here for Sanzar. Alanes steps back, three-pointer. Offensive rebound, good hustle. And that one is good for Zagala.
It's really painful for the defense to give up offensive rebounds after working so hard.
And Ronnie Zagala, at the age of 42, still able to contribute at a level like AsiaBasket. And that hustle from Madera, getting that steal. Sanzar has a lot to cheer about despite having only a 6-point lead.
Madera and Dimas providing the energy on defense.
At the controls here, you've got Ronnie Zagala, who's played for the Indonesian Basketball League, Setapak Jakarta. That was the club he played for. Finds himself in the company of his fellow Filipinos once again. Zagala no good on that floater. Madera can't clean it up. Taladua tries to finish. And Kong San Ma says, "This is all mine."
Ooh.
Montserrat just throws it into the stands.
Just over eager.
And I guess this is one of those days where you're kind of happy that all you got there are chairs instead of people.
Or drinks.
Or drinks. Either way.
Or people with drinks.
It would be a waste either way. .512 remaining here in the half. And Laminu having a hard time getting himself going right now.
Alan is still missing his 3-point shots now.
Something's got to change here. And if you're Sanzar coach, where do you go? How do you adjust given that Laminu's having a hard time finding his momentum? Alanis can't seem to find his range.
Usually, in CSB, usually what we do is to try to get more movement first. So maybe set a screen for Laminu before he gets the ball, and then some movement outside. Again, experience by Alanes, putting his body, sticking it to the defender to draw the call.
Shaq Alanes at the line right now.
I guess this is one way of getting your shots and getting your points going to the line. So Alanes knows that, and probably now if he sees his shots going in from a free throw line, his 3-pointers might change too.
Shaq Alanes going 2 for 2 from the stripe there. He's 3 for 4 for the entire game. Meanwhile, down low, MFT getting blocked by Laminu. Fast break, Zagala to Alanes. Nice pass. To Taladua for the finish.
Unselfish play by Alanes. You always want people who sacrifice their points for the betterment of the team.
A little over 4 minutes remaining here at the half as Mag-isa, true to his name, alone in the paint, getting crowded down low. And that's a 3-second violation against MFT.
MFT is trying to exert themselves underneath, but to no avail. They had offensive rebounds like 2 or 3 a while ago, but they didn't convert, and now a post-up try by Mag-isa results in another turnover.
And is that a lack of awareness? Is that just the tunnel vision, knowing that you can probably win the mismatch?
I think it is over-eagerness to win against the mismatch. He thinks that he has the advantage over his defender, but I think Sanzar is bringing in more people to defend that post.
Substitution here for MFT. Alan Papa taking a seat. Rod Ivan Cervantes now checking in. Cervantes, also an AsiaBasket vet. He was here in Malaysia last October playing for the BGC Builders.
Sorry turnover for Sanzar.
And Taladua was trying to set up Laminu, but that pass just did not find its mark.
I think the angle was a bit off there.
Is that just overshooting the pass or thinking Laminu was rangy enough to reach it?
I think it's a timing issue also, thinking Laminu will be able to step out.
And that last shot was no issue. Cervantes just missed all of it.
Good challenge though.
When you played in college, Coach Gabby, did you ever have those air balls in front of the people? And if you did, how do you bounce back from that?
A lot. You can't really hit them all, and then you just try to shake it off and save your confidence.
Especially in the Philippines, where the collegiate scene, especially when you played in the 90s, it was really testy, that rivalry between your university, Ateneo, and the rival university, La Salle. And then when all the women start watching and cheering and jeering, how do you not let that destroy your mindset?
I usually focus on the game. I don't hear anything from the crowd usually. And thank God there's no social media to remind me after the game.
Of course, that was decades ago, unlike now where games like this are being broadcast on Facebook, on YouTube, on Malaysian television. And if you can't get enough of the highlights that you've been seeing off of our social media, please do give us a follow at PhilBasket, where you can find highlights like that Tosh Sase poster dunk from yesterday's BGC Builders win. At the line again, Francis Abarcar. Becoming what we call in Filipino, a suke, or a regular customer at the free throw line.
And if I'm not mistaken, they've taken more free throws this quarter than Sanzar.
That's right. 5 for 6 at the line. That's Abarcar stats alone. MFT already 10 for 11, or 10 for 12 rather.
That's one way of stopping the fast break.
And that's going to go against Shaq Alanes. Sanzar already in the penalty. That's good news if you're MFT. Not only are you keeping the game close, but you're stopping the clock and you're getting those free throws.
And I think they're shooting at a high clip right now.
It seems that, yes, Sanzar is shooting at a higher clip. MFT unable to find the stroke just yet, particularly from long range.
Yes, but they're shooting 9 of 11 from free throw line, so that's keeping them afloat and keeping the game close.
Meanwhile, right now, our officials reviewing that last play from Shaq Alanes, trying to determine the gravity of that foul.
So was it a coach's challenge?
No, Coach. They were reviewing whether that was an unsportsmanlike foul, and it turns out that it is an unsportsmanlike foul based on our crew, our officiating crew, and that's two free throws and possession for MFT.
I think that's consistent with what they called a while ago, that it wasn't a play on the ball, so meriting an unsportsmanlike foul.
Bit of frustration there from Abarcar, who's only missed one free throw before that one.
Are we jinxing their free throws now?
I hope not. I hope not, Coach. Far be it from me to want to jinx anyone on the floor. 5-point game with 2:56 remaining here in the first half.
Shot clock 14 seconds.
In case you're watching us on demand, or in more traditional terms, on tape delay, we're actually in the middle of the afternoon here in Kuala Lumpur. Not as hot as it was yesterday, but the basketball action on the court keeping us cool, as that three-pointer from Abarcar is good, but he's limping, Coach. Notice that it seems to be either a cramp or a sprain. I can't really tell from here.
Or from that hit a while ago?
Yeah, Abarcar unable to move freely here. MFT has to sub him out. Taladua with space. Yes! And MFT's calling timeout with 2:23 remaining. Definitely going to address that Abarcar injury. We'll be right back with more Asia Basket. Saw that last three-pointer from Maya Taladua. He now has 12 points. Sanzar up by 6.
Sanzar continuing their sniping from outside. 4 of 11 for 36%. But MFT staying afloat with 10 of 13 free throws.
And if there's one thing MFT is doing right, it's getting to the line, taking advantage of the physicality, and really baiting Sanzar into these fouls.
That's what we were preparing for, the big physical play of the bigs of MFT when we were preparing for our game against them.
And Zagala unable to control that loose ball. Laminu still on the court despite playing with 3 fouls, coach.
Sometimes that's gut feel of the coach if he can play and the ability of the player to stay out of foul trouble even after with 3 fouls in the first half.
How would you advise your bigs though? If he's your only big man, the only Sanzar player over 6'4", how do you advise him to stay out of foul trouble?
First, don't reach. Use your size to just challenge and stay away from the stupid fouls.
Kong Sanma unable to throw up that shot in time, shot clock violation, and to go back to what you mentioned about those sticky tap fouls, as coaches like to call them. Sometimes it's hard to keep that in mind when you're in the heat of the moment.
Yes, that's where you have to control your emotions. That's where you have to be really disciplined to just keep your hands out of the pockets of your opponent.
MFT going back to that full court man-to-man here. And Sanzar, I think they're trying to go back to that long-range game. Taladua looking to open himself up, but Gikan tries his luck this time.
Madera again getting the rebound, but hopefully he's not seriously hurt there.
Madera hasn't even gotten up yet. And he's cradling that right hand or that right arm as we take a look at what happened once again off that Gikan missed 3.
You really love his effort, but the bigger, stronger Ma just bringing him down.
So it was his right hand or right arm that he used to break his fall as Kong San Ma hit him. It's pretty unfortunate because Madera needs to be helped up. Now he's walking on his own 2 feet.
Sometimes that fall also knocks your wind off if you land on your back.
What's the worst fall you've had on a court while playing, coach?
I broke a tooth, bloodied my lip, with my own teammate boxing me out.
That's got to be the worst.
I was also trying to get an offensive rebound, flying from outside, and then my teammate just flew in and tried to box me out, thinking that I was an opponent.
Eugene Madera getting some liniment oil or some ointment rubbed on his back. Hopefully that can relieve his pain right now as Coach Gabi Severino's guy, Art Dimas, steps to the line.
I'm a Bulls fan, by the way.
That explains a lot. That's 7 for Art Dimas. 8-point lead for Sanzar Pharmaceuticals.
Sanzar trying to pressure a bit.
Let's see if they can get their big man, Kong San Ma, involved here. And there's Kong inside.
Good call. Good call.
That's not good for Hamadou Laminu. That's his 4th foul already.
That's the risk you have to take if you play Laminu with 3 fouls. But good call, Stan.
Thank you. I mean, 4 fouls already. I'm really afraid here for the coaching staff of Sanzar, how they're going to adjust. They just got Laminu here in Kuala Lumpur, and now they're probably going to have to yank him out.
And good call for telling MFT to hit the bigs now.
Thank you. Kong San Ma, good at the line, 2 for 2 for the 6'9" big from Hong Kong.
But I guess it's kind of okay because it's just 1 minute 15 to go in the second half. In the first half, I mean. So Laminu will get his rest, and 3 fouls in the third quarter is not that bad.
MFT running here, taking advantage of Sanzar's defense. Nice defense there. Nice block from Moradas.
That's what I'm saying. Trying to really just keep your hands up and not foul. Gikan doing a good job in that series of action.
14 on the shot clock here for MFT. Mag-isa posting up. Morada strips him again. Active hands from Elmar Moradas. Shaq Alanes, right corner. 3 is off. Still off.
Still off.
Here's Monte. He's got a teammate. Finds the open man. That's good for Andre Montserrat.
MFT running again.
Really taking advantage of their speed. It looks like they're trying to reduce this lead as much as they can before halftime. 9-second difference between shot clock and game clock.
Taladua has a mismatch there.
That's right. Got him with a pump fake. Scramble for the ball here. Moradas tried to pick it up. And it's going to be MFT ball.
Good hustle by Ma, getting down on the floor.
Kong San Ma showing that just because you're tall doesn't mean that the dirty work is beneath you.
You love players like that. I think Mag-isa has to see the defense and notice that Sanzar is doubling him on the dribble and probably give up the ball earlier. He has a couple of turnovers on the post, trying to force his way inside.
We've got a quick update on Eugene Madera, who got injured earlier from Kimberly Mas. Kim?
Thank you, Stan. You can see Eugene Madera in pain after that hard fall. According to Coach Jimbo, it's nothing too serious. He should be able to go back in a jiffy. Stan?
Thank you, Kim. Glad to know that it wasn't a grave injury, as Montes' floater is still no good. And time winds down here in the first half. 4-point game, Sanzar Pharmaceuticals up 38-34. We'll take a break and be back with the second half of this matchup.
We're here at the halftime. Sanzar Pharmaceuticals and MFT Fruitmasters 38-34 with Sanzar Pharmaceuticals leading. I'm here with Yuki Kawamura, the sister of Yuki. So I heard you guys flew in from the Philippines to surprise Yuki here in his basketball tournament, his first international basketball tournament. So kumusta naman? How's your experience surprising him? Kasi nabigla daw siya, nagulat daw siya when he saw you guys in the hotel. So nagulat daw siya. He was actually really surprised. So what was it like surprising him?
We didn't expect to come here also. It was biglaan. But then, we wanted to surprise him and support him for his first international league.
All right. So whose idea was this? Was it your mom's or kayo ba nag-isip? Both of you guys thought of this idea?
It was my mom's idea.
It was your mom's idea to surprise Yuki. All right, so you mentioned that Yuki is into basketball for a while and siya talaga yung nag-explain sa'yo, geeking to you about basketball. So, what's Yuki like as a brother? Like, wait, I'm curious, who's older, you or Yuki?
I'm older.
You're older. By how many years?
1.5 years.
1.5 years. So you guys are pretty close.
Yes, we are. We are very close.
Okay, so what's Yuki like as a brother? Makulit ba siya? Is he really playful? What's he like as a brother?
Super annoying.
Super annoying. In what way?
I don't know. When he's bored, he always annoys me. But then it's fun because we're very close, and that's our way of bonding. So yeah.
Okay, so if you were to if I was Yuki right now, what do you usually tell him before his games?
Good luck and enjoy the game.
You guys are yun talaga yung sinasabi mo. That's really what you tell him. Good luck and
Enjoy the game. Enjoy the game.
okay. Do you say something? Can you say something to him in Japanese, or how do you guys communicate? Japanese, English, or Tagalog?
Sometimes Japanese.
Sometimes Japanese. So can you give us a sample?
Gambare.
Ganbate? Tama ba? Ganbate. So parang is it do your best? Do your best. Okay. Ganbate. Yuki. That was Yuri Kawamura, sister of Yuki, saying Ganbate. And that was halftime. Back to you, Stan and Coach Gabby.
Thank you very much, Kim. At the half, Sanzar Pharmaceuticals are up 38-34 against the MFT Fruitmasters as we take a look at the big stats heading into the second half, Coach Gabby.
If you look at the stats, you'll see the difference in the three-pointers. No, I guess with MFT they want to establish the inside game, but they can't do that without outside shooting, because the defense will then tend to be more concentrated on the inside if you don't score outside. So they have to hit those three-point shots. Start hitting those three-point shots. But a good thing is they're hitting more free throws also, 80%, and they made 12 already. So that's keeping the game close.
Earlier, you were looking at the turnover difference between both squads, Coach. Something that stood out to you was the individual numbers.
Yes, since MFT is trying to establish inside, but Mag-isa has already 4 out of the 13 turnovers. So it's not quite successful. Like I mentioned a while ago, he has to read the defense if there's a double team coming and kick out. Maybe that will open up the three-point shots also. And then another thing, if you have your point guard with 4 turnovers, that's not a good sign, because he handles the ball a lot. So you have to limit, Montserrat has to limit his turnovers.
And if you're Sanzar Pharmaceuticals, what do you have to keep doing to pull away against MFT?
What they're doing well is, again, forcing Mag-isa to turnovers. I mentioned also a while ago the Madera and Dimas holding their own even if they have a slighter frame. So offensive rebounds, if they can keep on boxing out and keeping Ma and Mag-isa out of the boards, offensive boards, then that will help them a lot.
Eugene Madera went down off that nasty fall earlier, but according to Kimberly Mas's report, he seems to be fine. No major injuries on his end. Do you think he's going to start the third quarter right away?
If I were him, I'd start, because I want to loosen that back. The more rest that you have, the colder it is, probably the harder it is to get back in the game.
And the big question for Sanzar Pharmaceuticals, Hamadou Laminu with 4 fouls and only 2 points. How will Coach Jamuel Gikan adjust here?
Probably I'd put him in sparingly. If I start him, I'd pull him out after 5 minutes and then put him back in, and then just to manage his minutes, that's one, and his fouls too.
Out of 20 minutes, Laminu's already played 18 minutes and 5 seconds. So in terms of game time, only 1 minute 55 of actual rest.
That's probably, if you get tired sometimes, that the tendency is to hold more. So managing that time and fouls will be crucial for Sanzar. Especially if they want to get Ma and Mag-isa out of the offensive rebounding lane, then they need Laminu inside.
MFT Fruitmasters going with Villablanca, Kong Sanma. They also have Semasia and Montserrat and Alan Papa here as their starting 5 for the second half. Meanwhile, Elmar Moradas here in place of Hamadou Laminu. No Morada. We've got Alanes, Gikan, Taladua, and Dimas rounding it out for the white shirts.
Hopefully Morada is feeling okay. Hopefully it's just rest for him.
Shaq Alanes, still the focal point of any team's prep. And you mentioned earlier that when CSB went up against Sanzar, your objective was to really just keep him out of his favorite spots.
Yes, but players like that, even if he's not shooting the ball well, he's, I think, 1 of 6 from the three-point line. The gravity that the defense reacts to him, that creates a lot of openings for the other players.
That's right, 1 for 6 from 3. That's Shaq's stats right now. As Gikan from distance still can't find the signal.
Gikan is another player that can heat up in a quick.
And that drive not going in Sanzar's direction.
That's a good effort by Marada. Every time that you sacrifice your body, it's just unfortunate that it was a block called on him.
Moradas taking that hit from Andre Montserrat. 18 on the clock here for MFT Fruitmasters. Going inside. That one not good for Semasho.
MFT continuing to pound the inside with interior passing.
Ray Semasho Jr. seeing his first action here for the MFT Fruitmasters.
And again, MFT back in the line, continuing what they did well in the first half with free throws. Probably it will catch up on Sanzar if they, again, get into foul trouble, especially during the end game.
And as we mentioned earlier, Eugene Madera rather, is back, taking the place of Moradas, who takes a seat. Apologies for the confusion there. So you mentioned, Coach, that you didn't want that back to settle in and get cold, which is why it's actually in Madera's best interest to get back on the court now.
Yes, and then get some treatment tonight, and hopefully he'll be ready for another game tomorrow.
The elimination round wraps up in the next couple of days. But before that, that three-pointer is good for Villablanca, his first points of the contest.
And the first for MFT, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
That will open up things a lot inside.
Took them 8 tries to nail a 3. Alanes being bothered by Kong.
Spacing is a bit tight there for Sanzar.
Is that because of the lack of Laminu or just because Gikan, Taladua, and Alanes are all struggling from the field?
One, they're struggling. Two, it's the placement. They have 2 guards outside, and Madera is cutting to the lane of the driving space of Alanes.
Alanes breaks the tie there.
Sometimes the players don't appreciate the role of the guy who spaces out. Even if you just stand in the corner, that makes the offense work better.
And if that's an underrated role, because not every star can space the floor, so how do you encourage somebody to keep moving off the ball and find a spot?
Most of the players naturally would be comfortable with the ball. So we also try to teach the players how to play without the ball. That's spacing, cutting. Again, good offensive rebound by Ma.
Madera taking another fall there. Glad that it wasn't as hard as last time. Madera just bothering Kong San Ma there.
And you have to commend his courage. He's probably 100 pounds lighter than Ma.
That's right. He's also giving up a good 6-7 inches against the center from Hong Kong.
And he's battling and fighting.
14 on the shot clock here. Make that 10. Montserrat in the paint. And the ball stays with the Fruitmasters with 6 to go.
6 seconds on the shot clock, 6 seconds to shoot.
Again, Madera preventing Ma from rolling to the basket that time.
This was going to be a 3 for Villablanca. No. Taladua gets the rebound. Outlet into the arms of Gikan despite the deflection from MFT.
Lucky break.
Not a fast break though. Sanzar has to settle into their half-court offense. Alanes crowded
again.
inside.
Ma using his size to block that Dimas shot.
Montserrat with a pump fake. Montserrat really doing his part here to spark the offense for the MFT Fruitmasters, and he seems to be the primary offensive option right now. Marlon Monte nowhere to be found actually.
Right. Now that they mentioned it, is he on the bench with an injury? What Montserrat is doing is he's pushing the pace, trying to get easy baskets for MFT. Unfortunately, his free throw missed that time.
Free throw shooting needs a bit of a boost here. Andre Montserrat already eclipsing his averages of 6 points per game. He's got 11 in this one.
That's a good sign, especially if Monte can't come back in the game.
Meanwhile, Sanzar going back to their half-court sets here. They've got 3 shooters, all trying to find the right spots. Alanes getting that pick. Taking a shot from the Sportsclick logo.
I think Alanes likes the long three-pointers.
Those NBA range three-pointers. That's only his second one here this afternoon.
Mag-isa getting the offensive rebound. MTF back in the line. Continuing what they did in the first half to stay in the game.
And Edsel Magisa making his money here on the offensive glass. He's got 8 rebounds.
2 free throws, Edsel Magisa.
MFT players are not just taller than Sanzar, except for Laminu. They're also bigger and heavier. But
Edsel Magisa actually checking in at 214 pounds, which is pretty bulky for a 6'5".
But again, you have to commend Madera and Dimas for fighting with all their 190 pounds, 180 pounds.
Thereabouts. 2-point game here. MFT keeping it close, up for grabs for either side. The right to finally say that they've won a game in the elimination phase. Art Dimas.
Again, Dimas with the offensive rebound.
All in one motion, jumping up, the offensive board, and the putback. That's 9 for Dimas. Obuyas almost stripped him there. And you gotta love the shock on the faces of these players. Sometimes when they get caught, like, talaga, is it really me?
But I don't know. It's clearly a push there. Maybe Taldua doesn't know his own strength. If you look at his body, probably a squeeze of a forearm is enough to dislodge a player.
At the line here, Tristan Villablanca, who played at the Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Muntinlupa. .647 here in the third.
Again, that's just proof that there's a lot of players. So not just from the NCAA ranks, not just from the UAP ranks, but all around the Philippines, there's a lot of really, really good players.
Maya Taladua once again, he's got 14. That's a game high.
Taladua using his strength.
Castellano doesn't know what to do there in the face of the Art Dimas defense, and Dimas doing the little things once again.
Again, Dimas, my favorite. I don't know about the hair. I don't know if I can sport the hair.
Those man buns, those ponytails getting more and more common in the 2010s and 2020s. Art Dimas definitely rolling with the times here. Jello Buyas anchoring the second unit. And it seems Sanzar is going back to Taladua, but that's going to go the other way. Another turnover for Sanzar. They haven't really done a good job of taking care of the ball here, Coach.
Again, another turnover, but I think Taladua too eager to establish his strength underneath.
That's the 12th turnover for Sanzar Pharmaceuticals compared to 13 for MFT.
At least they're trying to go inside, but they just have to control themselves and not to be too eager.
Marlon Monte back in the game now. We were wondering where he was. He's been silent so far, only 2 points. And on that drive, gets deflected.
Going back to turnovers, sometimes the turnovers are because of your eagerness to create something from nothing. Sometimes you just have to be calm.
How do you tell your players to calm down? Because in Filipino, there's a term called gigil,
Yes.
when you're just itching to go out there and put a beat down on your opponent. So how do you control that?
Well, you have to practice it. You have to really let the players know that it's an emotional game, but you have to control your emotions. Every time that the emotions are high, it's hard to make a right decision. As you know, even in life, right?
Yes.
If you're hot-headed, if you're in the moment, then it's hard to decide. So you have to be disciplined. You have to practice that even in your practices, in games. I know it's easier said than done.
At the line here, Edsel Mag-isa looking for point number 7. He's played for multiple teams in the Maharlika Pilipinas Basketball League. He's also played in the Chooks to Go Pilipinas Vismin Super Cup. Went undrafted in the Philippine Basketball Association draft in 2016.
Warning on the Sanzar Pharmaceuticals for improper bench decorum.
And the officials giving Sanzar Pharmaceuticals a warning here. How do you adjust to that, Coach, when your coaching staff gets called for improper bench decorum? What does that even mean for our more casual fans?
I guess when emotions are high, you tend to either celebrate or contest the call, and sometimes it goes overboard and the referee just warns you.
Montserrat against Gikan. Gikan winning that battle this time. Obuyes at the controls.
Good
To
pass.
Shaq Alanes, left corner 3. And Alanes' shooting is just on and off, mostly off. Alanes with the steal. Trying to redeem himself here.
Again, Alanes trying to force himself.
And Art Dimas cleans up his mess.
And to the rescue.
Dimas, good defense on the other
And
end.
who's there to challenge the shot and get the rebound? Art Dimas.
That's right. He's their very own art man. Ronnie Zagala now trying to stabilize Sanzar.
And you mentioned how old he is,
That's right, 42 years of age.
but still he has the motor.
There's Dimas earning another pair of free throws. So the vets here in Sanzar's lineup, Dimas and Zagala, 38 and 42 years young respectively.
I envy them. I wish I could play that way. But Dima showing us, I know he's huffing and puffing now, but showing us his heart, showing us his energy. But if you look at him, he looks like he can't lift a feather compared to the bigs of MFT. But he's holding his own.
Art Dimas very close to a double-double already. He's got 11 points and 8 rebounds.
I think he's better than Rodman in that sense that he already has 10 points.
Smooth free throw there for
And
the
he can make
former
a free
member
throw.
of the Bacolod Master Sardines in the Maharlika Pilipinas Basketball League. That's right, Dimas' free throws actually on point.
MFT just needs Alanis to connect to make this game closer. He's the missing link right now.
Andre Montserrat surveying his options and finds Lloyd Cabigin. Cabigin couldn't wrestle that offensive rebound
It's just
away,
unfortunate. It's good looks, good inside by MFT, just not converting them.
MFT's field goal percentage dropping down to about 28-29% off that last jumper.
Is it a credit to Dimas and Madera? Or is it just luck that the bigs of MFT not converting on those putbacks?
You're the wiser one here, Coach Gabby. I leave that to you to decide.
I'll give it.
Elbow jumper.
I'll give it to Dimas. I'll give it to the Dimas factor.
Art Dimas with that assist there.
Even our game, I was really surprised by Dimas's game when we played against them. The motor that he had, I knew he was up there in age, but I didn't know that he can still play that way. Giving the energy, getting rebounds off our bigs who are half his age. That says a lot.
And for our basketball scene in the Philippines, where you have players like Dimas, like Zagala, playing into their late 30s, sometimes their early 40s. The international viewers must be wondering how they keep themselves busy or what they do to put food on the table aside from tournaments like this.
I think, first of all, we have to give an applause for how he takes care of his body. Sometimes, players just need to put, like you said, put the food on the table. Probably that's their inspiration for this.
Obuyes, easy layup there, extending Sanzar's lead to 9. Both teams just answering back on that last couple of sequences.
Sanzar continuing to beat down MTF with fast breaks.
And the fast break points in comparison between both teams, Sanzar Pharmaceuticals, they were actually up on that stat. I believe it's 13-4 now in favor of Sanzar.
So MFT hasn't
Looks like Dimas, his knee got banged up there. He's able to get up on his own, but let's take a look at that last last slip.
It was just an unfortunate slip, maybe a wet spot. But those are the things that are scary. When you don't have control of your body, that's when you really tweak a knee or a groin.
And whenever I see those wet spots, players slipping on the court, I can't help but think of Gordon Hayward, who was with the Boston Celtics in that opening game in 2017, that gnarly knee injury.
Yes. Of course, those are far and few in between, but we don't wish any.
You don't wish that on anyone.
Yep. Again, Sanzar with a fast break.
Shaq Alanis extending the lead to 11, and MFT wants to talk things through.
I think
2:55 remaining here in the third quarter. Sanzar Pharmaceuticals have a significant edge over the MFT Fruitmasters. Laminu, we haven't really seen much of him because he's in foul trouble, but Shaq Alanes, Jello Obuyes, and Art Dimas have picked up the slack for Sanzar Pharmaceuticals.
Probably, if it were me on the bench, I'll try Lamino again because we're getting beat. It's probably a good time to risk his foul trouble.
16 on the shot clock here. Gikan getting feisty. But Gikan takes a hit himself. He's down. A bunch of Sanzar Pharmaceutical players being on the business end of these elbows or these slips.
Well, that's how the game is played, physical. I think anywhere in the world, it's a physical sport. Is it especially true that Philippine basketball is branded as a more physical sport?
That's a great question, Coach Gabby, because the coach of MBC, Coach Guga Batumalay, actually brought this up last year when he went to the Philippines for PhilBasket. And that was one thing he wanted the Malaysian players to get exposed to, the physicality of Philippine basketball. And his team at the time, the Kuala Lumpur Asil, did get a taste of that, for better or for worse, however you may want to call it.
Yes, we played against a SEAL team when they went to the Philippines recently, and the games were a bit chippy with them.
All euphemisms, these words, very, very colorful, but of course, ultimately, when you're on the receiving end, you don't really need any euphemisms. They just hurt.
Yes, yes.
We're taking a look now at that last sequence between Gikan and Marlon Monte. So that's not an unsportsmanlike foul, it's a holding foul.
Fortunate for Monte that he wasn't called extra motion in that scuffle.
So that foul's gonna go against Kokoy Gikan, and Marlon Monte will be shooting free throws. And as our officials convene here, we've got an update from our sideline reporter, Kimberly Mas. Kim?
Thank you, Stan. We've seen Maya Taladua, Kokoy Gikan, and Shaq Alanes scoring the most points in their previous games. But Coach Jim Wall of Sanzar Pharmaceuticals expects Art Dimas and Jello Obuyes to step up further today. On the other hand, Coach Jade of MFT Fruitmasters was throwing some colorful words to his players, reminding them to strengthen their defense. Stan?
Thank you very much, Kim. I'm sure that you had to censor some of those words in your head during that quick huddle that you were privy to.
Sometimes as a coach, you have to rile up the motivation. So sometimes the words that come out of your mouth is not really for TV or for broadcast.
Have you ever been mic'd up that way, Coach Gabby? Like, has any expletive you've mentioned in the heat of the moment been caught on broadcast?
Fortunately, not yet.
Because, you know, these days, the trend is to mic up the players, right?
Right.
And if you watch internationally, like in the NBA, the players actually go out of their way to tell everyone, hey, I'm mic'd up.
But I guess they censor it. Is there a way to censor it?
I don't think there's a way to censor it, but I guess it's on the production team to actually make sure that they don't make it on air as Lloyd Cabigin hits that bank shot.
Again, it's discipline and trying to control your emotions, I guess.
Always a helpful reminder, regardless of what profession you find yourself in, as Zagala gets that foul off of Cabigin.
MFT not yet into penalty, so it's just a sideline inbound for them. But that's a good recognition by Zagala to attack the mismatch. Probably they'll go to it. But they go to Dimas.
Yes, against Mag-isa. Back to Alanes. 5 seconds to shoot here. Dimas with the screen. Alanes got hit. And he makes the jumper.
It's really hard to stop a guy like Alanes. He will find a way to score. He is very crafty underneath. As you see, he jumps into the defender. He knew that the defender was trailing him, so he jumped back to get the foul.
Shaq Alanes now with 17.
In the Philippines, we call that experience.
Yes, that's right.
He's a very experienced player.
He's averaging 26.5 so far. Can't connect on the three-point play there. Would have been a nice pass, though,
Yeah.
from Monte to Mag-isa.
Hopefully getting Monte to score more and getting his confidence back.
So Kokoy Gikan with that foul. Sanzar already in the penalty, coach.
Like the first half, MFT has to take advantage of this. Get free throws, stop the clock with the last 2 minutes of the third quarter, get some points on the board, and hopefully keep this close going into the fourth.
Monte took him a while to get going. He now has 5.
And he spent a large part of the third in the bench.
That's right. We were playing a game of Where's Marlon earlier. And Monte getting that rebound. Nice
Good
handoff to
pass.
Cabigin.
Good pass by Monte.
6 points now for Lloyd Cabigin, and Monte beginning to rack up the assists, recognizing that if his offensive game isn't working, he can make the plays. That's his 5th assist.
Zagala seeing the mismatch.
And hitting that free throw line jumper. He's got 6.
But on the other end, MFT has a mismatch too with Zagala, but they couldn't capitalize on it.
It seems like MFT is able to take 1 step forward, but then they take 2 steps back the next possession.
That's what turnovers do. Once you get one, instead of combining an offensive score with another score, then you get a turnover.
Dimas was looking for a foul there. Instead, MFT's got a fast break opportunity, and that's going to go off of Sanzar.
Good transition defense though by Sanzar and Kagikan. Quick hands.
Credit to Gikan, not afraid of drawing another foul. Mag-isa, down low. Edsel Mag-isa really showed up to work here, coach.
He's trying. He's getting into the line. He's using his heft. Unfortunately, he didn't get an end one there, which I think is makeable, but he's on the line right now.
Edsel Mag-isa, who played college ball at the PSBA, or the Philippine School of Business Administration, and at the University of Batangas down south of Metro Manila.
Again, basketball is all over the Philippines.
That last free throw is good. Deficit is down to 8 for MFT.
MFT is chipping away with free throws.
And that's something they've been doing since the first quarter,
Yes.
coach.
They just have to get stops. Again, the mismatch. Sanzar is trying to exploit the mismatch here.
They go back to Alanes. And he gets rejected.
Good help by MFT big men. You can't really guard Alanes with one person. You just have to throw in some help there.
Third block there for the MFT Fruitmasters off of Cabigin. 2 seconds. The Gala doesn't seem to realize it, and time runs out on that possession for Sanzar Pharmaceuticals.
Good defense there by MFT. Let's see if they can rack some points here with 42 seconds left and make the game closer and make it more comfortable for them going into the fourth quarter.
And MFT is quick enough. If MFT is quick enough, rather, they can go for a 2-for-1 here.
Yes. I think that's their idea.
And that's going to go off of Morada. Still MFT ball. 2-for-1 still in play, coach.
If they have a baseline play that can free up Monte or some of their shooters, or a slip inside, that will be best.
Mag-isa calling for it. He knows he has the height mismatch against Dimas.
There you go.
Taking it strong. Shot clock is running. Shot clock's been turned off. 18 to go here in the third quarter. Obuyas realizing it. He can slow down. Takes the 3. Offensive rebound, Alanes.
Last shot for them.
Gikan from distance. Still off. MFT
chance for
can have the last
MFT.
shot from the half court. No good for Marlon Monte. And at the end of 3 quarters, Sanzar Pharmaceuticals maintains the lead. They're up by 6. We're taking another break. We'll be back with the 4th quarter. Welcome back to our coverage of the 2023 AsiaBasket Kuala Lumpur, brought to you by Sportsclick. 4th quarter of play set to start in just a few moments. What stood out to you in that 3rd quarter, Coach Gabby?
For the 3rd quarter, I like what Mag-Isa was doing. He went to the free throw line. He imposed himself inside, and that's, I think, what made them come back to this game. Again, MFT is continuing their pounding the inside with drop pass to Ma and getting to the free throw line again. That's where they're more successful right now, getting to the free throw line.
Kong San Ma hasn't missed a shot at the line yet. 2 for 2. Make that 3 for 3.
I don't envy the Sanzar. After Mag-Isa in the 3rd quarter, now it's Ma. They'll have to have a massage tonight, probably.
Yeah, it's not just Morada. And I heard that there are some massage places here in Kuala Lumpur, particularly near the Maba Stadium where we're at. Some expensive, some not so expensive. I'm not sure what you guys do over in Benil for those massages, Coach.
I haven't had a massage in a while.
8 seconds to shoot here for Shaq Alanes.
Alanes. Good sign to start the 4th period.
Shaq's got 20 here. Just as we talked about that massage, Alanes gave us a happy ending for that conversation. Marlon Monte now has 7.
Trying to push the pace.
Yes, that's right. Both teams picking up the tempo. 9 minutes 10 remaining here in regulation. And there's Art Dimas. 3 seconds to shoot here for Alanes. Going for 3 again. Thought he could get the foul. Dimas cleaning up the offensive glass.
And speaking about Alanes, you think he's having a bad night, right?
But he's not.
But he has 22 points right now.
That's right, and that's what makes it ironic. Call him Alanes Morissette.
Once a shooter, once a scorer, always a scorer.
That foul's going to go against Kokoy Gikan. That's his 3rd.
And Alanis is doing it from everywhere. He's getting to the line, driving to the basket, up and unders, shot fakes.
It took him some time to get going, Coach. He is 7 of 21 from the field, 3 of 9 from long range.
3 of 9 is still not bad.
Kapigin from the baseline. Good. That's 8 for the big man.
Kapigin is starting to contribute. Starting to join the inside party of MFT.
Meanwhile, on the other side, Moradas thought he caught the bug from Alanes. And now MFT has the numbers. And Villablanca can't finish. This time gets thrown. Gets rejected.
Unfortunate for them.
Montserrat though with a hustle, but that's a backcourt violation.
Unfortunate for MFT. It was a 2-on-1 break.
And one of our favorite memes from our generation is that Bart Simpson meme where he has that cake that says, "At least you tried."
But trying is the first step, and a big step.
I'm glad you acknowledge that, Coach, because some people would say, I don't care if you try, you got to produce results.
But, well, in
Alanes
CSB,
steals that three.
in CSB, we're trying to get more effort and be more process-oriented.
Shaq Alanes trusting that process. He's got 25, his fourth three-pointer of the afternoon.
As long as it's good shots, take them.
Montserrat driving to the rack.
Challenging Lamino, who has foul trouble right now.
That's right, baiting him to foul him out early in the fourth. 69, nice, to 63. That's the score. Sanzar keeps it that way for now off that miss.
Monte having some words with the referee.
And Kyle Villablanca taking a seat. Alan Papa replacing him on the court now. 14 on the shot clock for Sanzar. Alanes thought he was open, but that's not going to count.
Alanes is heating up.
And I bet Alanes feels like that would have been a waste. Let's take a look at that play once again. Alanes found himself open.
One of the things we try to teach the players is never hit a screen. You can either go under or over, but never hit a screen.
But what happens when the brick wall is already right there and you're like a millisecond away from slamming into it?
Then you have to be aware earlier that it's there so that you can evade it.
12 seconds to shoot here. Alanes from deep. That one's off the back of the rim. Morada swoops in for the offensive rebound. Lamino against Kong Sanma.
Oh,
Lamino still cold.
good try, good try. But it's hard really after sitting on the bench for the whole third quarter and then trying to come in. He's not even sweating right now.
Does that matter to you, Coach, when one of your players isn't even sweating? Is it an indicator of a lack of effort, or?
I was just mentioning that because he was on the bench for for the third quarter. So it's hard for him to get into the flow of the game if he hasn't played much.
It's like he hasn't really warmed up
yes,
yet.
Yes, yes.
It's Abuyas and Alanes in the backcourt for Sanzar Pharmaceuticals. Moradas at the small forward spot. Madera and Lamino, their bigs. Moradas from the right corner. Can't do a sequel of that Shaq Alanes 3 that should have counted but did not.
MFT having a hard time grabbing the ball in the past 3 possessions.
And here's Edsel Magisa checking back in. He's got a double-double already. And just as quickly, Coach Jemuel Gikan brings Taladua back in. So it's the starting lineup for Sanzar Pharmaceuticals on offense. Alanes taking that pro hop.
Alanes really clever inside.
And
Papa
Alan
was
Papa's
just
fouled out.
too close, just too close. It's really hard for. It's deceiving how Alanis is has a quick first step, and you have to be worried about his 3-point shooting. That's why you have to stay close. So it's really hard to tough someone who has a shot outside and who can penetrate inside and has the craftiness to get you into foul trouble.
That's 26 for Shaq Alanis.
Alanis, you can say, is a complete offensive player. So inside, outside, drives, pull-ups.
But here, back home in the Philippines, Coach, when let's say you're already well-rounded as an offensive player, the subtext there is that they have a ways to go on the other side of the floor. But is there still room to develop when you're in your prime, in your late 20s, early 30s?
With the game right now, it's really you're looking to be an all-around player because there's a lot of talent, like I said. So you can't just be one-dimensional. So you have to work, at least be decent on the other end of the floor.
Obuya showing that two-way player here. Nice fast break finish for the point guard.
Abuya.
And now on the other end, Montserrat can't get it to go.
Abuya providing defensive spark.
Jello Obuyes really gave the Benilde Blazers defense a hard time yesterday.
Yes. He was under the radar because of the performance of Taldua and Alanes. So he gave us some problems because we were really focused on the two main scorers.
Meanwhile, Hamadou Laminu getting that, unable to get that call in his favor. So he's still stuck at 2 points here. That was a travel. Approaching the halfway mark here of the fourth quarter. Sanzar Pharmaceuticals still up. They've got a 10-point advantage. Mag-isa way far away from his usual office in the post.
Madera trying to, good drop pass.
And Madera tried to deny Kong Sanma.
That time around, Mag-isa seeing the double team and giving the drop pass to Ma. That's a good look from Mag-isa.
And Madera's day is over. He's fouled out.
If I'm not mistaken, Madera also fouled out of our game. I guess with effort comes risks of fouling. But at least you get effort and physicality with Madera. And he's outweighed by the big, so you can't fault him for that.
Kong Sanma with a rare miss at the line. Laminu, solid pick there. Alanes for three. Hits the back of the rim. And it's going to stay with Sanzar.
Sanzar's pounding the boards right now on defensive rebounds. I think in the past few possessions they have had 2 to 3 offensive rebounds. Plus the tap outs that sustain their possession.
Art Dimas back in for Sanzar, taking Madera's place. Meanwhile, Taladua down in the block.
Taladua manufacturing points right now, trying to manufacture points by getting to the free throw line and stopping the clock.
Maya Taladua shooting a good percentage from the field. He's 6 for 10.
I guess now he feels that he has a mismatch on the post with the guards of MFT, so he's taking advantage of that.
Maya Taladua playing the 2 here for Sanzar at 6 for 3, but as we mentioned earlier, he seems to have the chops to mix it up with the bigs inside.
They're kind of inverting the offense right now with Taladua inside and going away from the post-ups of Lamino. Because Lamino is having a hard time with Ma.
And not only that, he's still dealing with his 4 fouls. One more and he'll be joining Madera on the bench.
Correct.
Dimas doing some custodian work, but he has to give it up that time. That's going to be, I believe, his fourth personal foul.
Dimas was trying to go around, but I guess Mag-isa is too wide for him. We mentioned earlier in the broadcast that the foul trouble of Sanzar might come into play, and with the penalty situation and the foul trouble of Dimas and Madera out, we'll see.
That's right. That's something we got to keep our eyes on, Coach, as Mag-isa with that nice baby hook. You've got Laminu with 4, Dimas with 4, Gikan with 3. We mentioned Taladua, he also has 4. And Madera, who's already fouled out.
So we'll see the free throw situation later.
Especially now that both teams are in the penalty. 6 seconds left on the shot clock. Alanes falls to the floor, and so does Villablanca.
Offensive foul number 39, Shaq Alanes.
It's going to go against Alanes. It's an offensive foul.
Substitution, Ron Sagala for Art Dimas.
And Alanes seemed to bring down Villablanca with him.
He was trying to bait the foul, but fortunately the referee saw his intent there.
Under 4 minutes to go here in regulation.
Mag-isa again asking for the ball.
Yeah, he had that mismatch against Zagala. Nice block from Alanes. Sanzar with the fast break opportunity. Instead, Cervantes picks it up. Kong Sanma with a pass to Montserrat. Crossing him over, and that floater.
Quick move by Montserrat. Alanes showing his defensive wares.
That's right. Clearly, Alanes has introduced himself to us as an offensive threat, but look at that first step from Andre Montserrat, Coach.
Quick move.
And that explosiveness, that quick burst to beat your defender, something that you expect from your playmakers.
Yes, something you expect from a smaller player. The quickness and the shiftiness. Again, MFT keeping the game a bit closer now with free throws.
And that's 2 for 2 from the product of Colegio de San Agustin Binyan.
But MFT has to get more stops to make it a bit more closer and more comfortable, to give them a chance.
Zagala can't find his range as well.
Good effort by Laminu there.
And the MFT bench close to being up in arms. There's a timeout on the floor. Coach Jemuel Gikan wants to see how they can close it out. We'll take a break. We'll be right back with more fourth quarter action. Minutes 24 remaining here in regulation. Sanzar Pharmaceuticals up by 6 against the MFT Fruitmasters, and they're looking to close this one out. Kimberly Mas has an update on what Coach Jemuel Gikan told his squad. Kim?
Thank you, Stan. Expect to see more of Shaq Alanes, Maya Taladua, Jello Obuyes, and Amadou Lamino in this last quarter, as Coach Jemuel hopes they will help Sanzar close this out. Stan?
Thanks, Kim. 2 seconds running out for Maya Taladua.
That's the second offensive foul Taladua committed in trying to post up the smaller guards of MFT.
And Maya Taladua's fouled out. That's a second Sanzar Pharmaceuticals player with his disqualifying foul. Or with that foul to send him out of the game, rather.
So the story of foul trouble is now developing. We'll see if MFT can capitalize on that.
A little over 3 minutes remaining here.
Not
Down
at-
to the nitty-gritty.
I guess not in this possession.
Jello Buyes back on the floor for Sanzar.
MFT has to, again, make stops, and then Sanzar now has to convert to make the lead more comfortable.
Alanes getting a double here. Mag-isa helping. Offensive rebound, Zagala.
Zagala opting not to shoot that.
And this is the most minutes that Zagala's seen in this tournament so far as he passes to Laminu inside.
Oh,
Laminu
sorry,
still
miss.
unlucky.
Good pass. Good pass, though.
Laminu wondering what he has to do to buy a bucket here. Meanwhile, the Sanzar defense struggling to contain MFT on the break.
I think it's an offensive foul on Montserrat. A good sharp eyes by the referee seeing that hook. I thought he wasn't going to see this because from our angle we saw that hand, but the referee with hawk eyes saw that.
Credit our officials for being able to catch those fouls despite the view or the disadvantaged view. So that's a turnover and an offensive foul for Andre Montserrat. Sanzar back with the
So
ball
that's
here.
2 straight turnovers for MFT. And,
Alanes sizing up his defender here.
and also two
Nice
missed-
handoff. Laminu
Lamino again.
still struggling.
Alanes is slow coming down, so it's a 4-on-5 situation.
Last couple of minutes here. Alanes beside himself here.
Turnovers are piling up from MFT. 3rd straight turnover. Sanzar maintaining a 6-point lead because of those 3 turnovers by MFT.
And the turnover story here, MFT has 23 compared to 19 from Sanzar Pharmaceuticals. Laminu taking a jumper. It has been incredibly difficult for Laminu to score here.
It's been a turnover show for MFT and a missed field goals for Sanzar.
I believe Laminu is now 1 for 10 from the floor, coach.
And I think we haven't scored in the last 2 minutes, if I'm not mistaken.
Sanzar takes another timeout. We'll be right back with the last minute and 28 seconds of regulation. Back on the floor here at the Maba Stadium. We're getting down to the wire between Sanzar Pharmaceuticals and the MFT Fruitmasters. Both teams still in search of win number 1, coach.
With 6 points separating them and 1 minute 28 to go, I think it's now down to who wants it more. Game is still up on the line. Anyone can still win it, but Sanzar has to convert to get separation. MFT has to stop and get a bucket on the other side.
Speaking of separation, Alanes can't separate from the double teams of the MFT Fruitmasters, this time getting a foul.
Referees are catching all the offensive fouls right now.
And that's an offensive foul against Alanes. Coach Jemuel Gica not pleased. Coach Jade Padrigal wants to talk things over. We've got another timeout on our hands. 1 minute 23 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Looking ahead to the next games for the MFT Fruitmasters. They play tomorrow at 4 p.m. against Shawarma Shack Pilipinas. That's their last game in the elimination round. Meanwhile, for Sanzar Pharmaceuticals, if they don't win here, they'll have a tough test on the 15th. That's on Saturday at 7 p.m. against Harimau Malaysia of all teams, Coach Gabby.
Harimau is a legit team right now.
Three-pointer for Villablanca is good. It's a three-point game.
Good drawn-up play by Coach
Jay Padrigao, yes.
Sometimes you make or break your career as a coach in after timeout plays like those.
Those ATOs, or those after timeout plays that a lot of geeky basketball fans, and I say that with love, we really go wild for those ATOs.
With the stop now, they can tie the game with a three-pointer. Who will take the shot? That is the question.
MFT sizing them up. Villablanca tried to go for another one, but Obuya says, let's slow things down. The clock is our friend. 17-second differential between shot clock and game clock.
But that was a good shot. That was a good open shot. Unfortunately, it didn't go down.
They go back to Alanes. Let's see what he does here. Will he get to 30? Alanes from the mid-range.
Oh,
nice offensive rebound. Obuyas, no good. MFT has a shot here. MFT, yes, 1-point game. Andre Montserrat.
Montserrat is having a career game.
And Montserrat wanted a foul. Doesn't get it. Sanzar calling their last timeout. We'll be right back with the final 12.5 seconds. .5 seconds remaining. The MFT Fruitmasters haven't had the lead since the first quarter, and this is as close as they've gotten. That last Andre Montserrat bucket, keeping them to 1 point away from Sanzar Pharmaceuticals, but it's Sanzar ball. Coach Jemuel Gikan has used his final time out. What are you looking to execute here, Coach Gabby?
Again, we were talking about ATOs. Now it's Coach Gikan's turn to create something out of the ATOs. Probably go to Alanes to get either a bucket or send him to the free throw line.
And Zagala far away from the hoop here because he knows that time's on their side. Finally gets fouled by Villablanca. He's going to go to the line for a pair of freebies.
I was surprised that they didn't give the ball to Alanes. I think he's the best free throw shooter right now in their team.
Zagala, the 42-year-old veteran, stepping to the line. No good on the first. And MFT still has a timeout here, Coach Gabby.
Fortunately for them, they have a timeout. So it's again Coach Padrigao's turn to draw up another good play.
You're right, Coach. Shaq Alanes is their leader in free throw percentage at 90%. So it is puzzling to see that they didn't go to him off that ATO.
Because they expected a foul from MTF because there's no more time on the clock. So I would have given Alanes the ball right off the inbound.
And it's going to be a sideline inbound here with 8.2 seconds remaining for MFT Fruitmasters. Are you going to go back to the well and go for Montserrat, who's been hot here in the fourth quarter? Or do you find someone else, like a Kyle Villablanca, who can shoot it from distance, or Edsel Mag-isa, who's been decent in the post here?
For me, with you can go two ways. You can go three to win the game or a 2-point shot. But any good shot from an action that you're comfortable with, from like mag-isa on the post and then see if they double team him. If they don't, then he gets free reign on the basket for 2 points for the tie. Or if they double team, then a kick out to Montserrat and Villablanca, who just hit a 3-pointer a while ago.
And our clocks don't stop here in AsiaBasket. If there's a made jumper, Sanzar doesn't have the benefit of the time stopping. It will keep going. So it's in MFT's best interests to maximize this final possession here.
And to not celebrate after they make a shot. If ever they make a shot, they have to go down. There's still time on if there's still time on the clock to prevent a counter attack by Sanzar.
Especially if they can connect on an outlet pass from the other end of the floor. They go with Monte, ignoring that pick. 3-pointer from Montserrat. No good. Sanzar secures the rebound, and that's it. Sanzar Pharmaceuticals picks up their first win of the elimination phase, 75-73 against the MFT Fruitmasters. Admirable effort here from the Fruitmasters, coach.
Yes, admirable effort. They tried to stay in the game with their bigs inside and going to the line. But unfortunately, Alanes exploding for 27 points. And then Taldua with 15. Dimas with his effort. As you know, I'm biased. He has 13 points. So, good job by Sanzar.
Sanzar Pharmaceuticals as a whole, they did have these contributions. Eugene Madera had 11 rebounds. He fouled out, got injured, kept playing, and that was one of the reasons why Sanzar Pharmaceuticals really got that effort across the board from all of their players. You mentioned Art Dimas. He had 9 rebounds on top of those 13 points. Taladua from the floor was pretty efficient, 6 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from downtown, but of course the hero of the game for Sanzar Pharmaceuticals, one Shaquille Oswald Alanes, who had 27 points, 4 of 12 from downtown, 7 of 9 from the free throw line.
That's despite of having troubles in the first half. You didn't feel that he was having a good game, but he turned it on in the second half. And props to him also for trying to not just jack up 3-pointers. He tried to do a lot more things, getting to the line, getting his confidence back, and attacking the perimeter guys and getting to the teeth of the defense and just manufacturing points.
And it really goes back to what you said earlier, Coach Gabby, about the scorer's mentality, which Shaq Alanes put on display. And speaking of Shaq Alanes, he's standing with our very own Kimberly Mas. Kim?
Thank you, Stan. I'm here with player of the game, Shaq Alanes. Shaq, dikit yung laban doon sa fourth quarter. It was tied during the fourth quarter. Anong sinabi ni Coach Jimwell during the huddles? What did Coach Jimwell tell you in the huddles?
Sinabi lang sa amin ni Coach Jimwell na focus kami sa game, execute namin yung game plan namin, tsaka dumipensa kami ng maayos kasi nagkakaroon na sila ng run. So ayun, kahit papano naman, kahit dikit yung laban, nakuha pa rin namin yung first win namin.
Alright, so Shaq said here that Coach Jimwell told them to just focus on the game, stick to their game plan, and keep their defenses up. Now, Shaq, Lamino is now in your team right now. Anong nag-iba sa Sanzar? What difference did it make for Sanzar Pharmaceuticals?
Siyempre, big factor din si Lamino kasi meron na kaming bigay sa loob to challenge every shots ng kalaban. Ayun, nag-adjust pa rin si Lamino pero kahit pa paano nakatulong na siya ngayong game.
Okay, so with Lamino's entrance to Sanzar Pharmaceuticals, Shaq says that it's still an adjustment for Lamino, but at the same time, he's a big contribution to Sanzar Pharmaceuticals. Now, Shaq, I know you have a family and a baby boy back at home, fans as well. Greetings for them.
Ayun, first of all, nagpapasalamat ako kay God sa panalo na to. Binabati ko yung wife ko tsaka yung baby ko. 1 month na siya ngayon eh. So, ayun. Miss ko na kayo dyan. Tapos binabata ko yung mama, papa ko, yung kapatid ko, and yung family din ng wife ko, sila Tito Elmer, yung mga taga-Yopeco. Ayun lang.
Congratulations, Shaq, and the rest of Sanzar Pharmaceuticals. Back to you, Stan and Coach Gabby.
Thank you very much, Kim. Shaq Alanes playing for his baby boy, 27 points. The league leader in the points so far here in the elimination phase of the AsiaBasket Kuala Lumpur in 2023. Up next, we've got the BGC Builders taking on the Malacca Basketball Club Kirin. For Coach Gabby Severino of the CSB Blazers, my name is Stan C. We'll see you for the next game right here at the MABA Stadium.